If you have that foundational understanding, the value you deliver, who you deliver it for, that very specific, not anybody who has the problem, but it's like very specific, then your understanding of yourself and how you operate will become easier because your decision making becomes easier.
Sound of Startups podcast is hosted by Taj, produced by Amplitude Ventures, your partner in early stage startups.
Welcome towards the last season of the podcast Sound of Startup. This is Christmas. Everywhere things are closing up, so I thought, let me do my last podcast for this year. Today, I have someone from the brand side because for startups, it's very important to first to create a product and service. So today, I have a friend with me named Orwell. Orwell was based in Germany. He majorly works with startups and majorly helps them define the brand positioning, brand messaging, and the brand tone and brand voice and brand identity. Together, you can say he helps you to create a brand. And with this, he runs a studio there. And with this, let me introduce you to Orwell. Oh, hi Orwell.
Hi, everyone. How's it going?
I'm good. How's Germany?
Yeah, it's getting cold, but we're about to hit the solstice, so the days are going to get longer, and yeah, looking forward to that.
As a Christmas time, are you ready?
Yeah, wrapping up for sure. I've got a few things to wrap up tomorrow, maybe the start of next week, and then I'm going to take a couple of weeks off and enjoy the changing of the year.
Okay, so we got to introduce that you are the someone who works with a brand, and I don't know. I just want you to introduce you a very small story of a brand that the whole Christmas Santa brand was originally a Finnish idea.
I'm not sure about that. I definitely know the Coca-Cola were the ones that turned him from green to red.
Yes.
But yeah, I've also heard of it's either Germany or one of the Norse countries that also have a little guy that follows Santa around that either gives children poor gifts or beats children if they've been bad. So, and Santa's brand has changed over the years for sure.
So it is one of the most powerful branding stories I always quote, that Christmas is branded for the commercial world, and there's no
100%.
bigger story than that. And with that, who you are and what do you do?
So I am a brand partner for founders and startups. I help them get clarity on their message, on who it is that they are looking to reach and what it is they're actually looking to help those people achieve, so that they can actually, get funding, get their product launched and actually grow their business with the right kind of people.
Keyword is clarity. What does that mean?
Clarity, 100%. You'll see this for yourself through your own work, that a lot of founders or anybody who's actually been and watched some of these pitches, you see the founders, they'll stand and do a pitch and they'll speak for 5 minutes, and at the end of it, you're not actually sure what it is that they do. Often what they need is somebody from the outside just to be like, okay, explain it to me. And again, until we actually get to the core idea of what it is that they're trying to do. And it tends to be finding the value that they're actually delivering versus the value that they want to deliver. But once we find out what that is, there's this like light bulb moment and everything starts to fall into place. Messaging becomes easier, sales becomes easier, marketing becomes easier because they now know who they're trying to reach and the message that's actually going to drive them to action.
Yeah, that is the whole game all about, because most of the time people confuse branding with brand or brand management with the whole idea of how does my logo look, how does my website looks, how might my Facebook, and that's it. And the below this is something completely different. So, and that is a lot of confusion and there's a lot of misunderstanding around with it. So let's take step by step and make it easy for everyone to understand. You said that from what they are actually delivering to what they want to deliver in terms of value. How do you define these two components?
So the conversations that you have in the early phase, the founder will tell you what they think is the value they're delivering. And it's often based, especially in the early stages, based on a lot of assumptions. So branding is the first place, or branding done well is the first place that you can test those assumptions, because there's someone from the outside who doesn't have the emotional attachment to your product or the emotional attachment to where the journey you've come from, but they do have an attachment to delivering the result you're going for. So they want to see your business succeed. They want to see your startup get funded. So they will test your assumptions by saying, okay, well, explain it to me. Who is the audience that needs this? What's the real world problem that we are solving here? And if the longer they talk, the less sure they are. Not every band wants to get their music launched on Spotify or discovered on Spotify. So if you're looking, that's what you're trying to achieve, we are going to help people get discovered on Spotify, then there's a big group of people you can just ignore because they don't care, they're not interested, they can't afford it, whatever. Then we can talk to a specific group of people and then start to shape the brand around them.
Okay, this is, let me make it further easy. Not everybody, you are not talking to everybody. You're talking to somebody. And that somebody needs to be feeling what you're saying, what you're trying to sell, and what you're trying to create value. And that somebody is your customer, and your world should revolve around them. Because as a brand, you cannot practically serve everybody and anybody in the world.
Exactly.
It needs to be that specific. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I got it. Question.
An example, just pulling an example from music. If you see somebody wearing tartan trousers with safety pins in their denim jacket with the sleeves cut off and a pair of Doc Martens and a mohawk, you can make a set of assumptions about these people and say they probably like punk music.
Yes.
So that's branding. So where do we play? We go to these kind of venues because they're punk venues. We play at these festivals because they're punk festivals. It's like, get your brand in place, know who your audience is, and your decision making for the rest of your business becomes very clear.
Now question is, how do you do it? This is such a complicated stuff. It's not easy. Joke.
A lot of it is laying the foundations. It's having understanding. And most of it comes from extracting information from the founders themselves. There's like branding and rebranding are two slightly different things. So if somebody is in like they're in the middle of their funding runs, they've had a bit of funding, and now they're in the growth phase. They've had a load of assumptions tested, and now what they would want is their branding to change in order to more align with the assumptions that they've tested. So that would be speaking to their core fans, asking them in-depth questions about, well, why did you choose to start using this product? Why do you continue to use this product? What were your needs and desires when you started out? What are your needs and desires now? And that helps answer lots of questions around what should the company do next? Because the messaging to actually bring somebody on board and help them buy is different from the messaging that you would communicate in order to keep somebody buying from you. So yeah, research is the very first part of it. Okay. And it's either talking to the founders themselves, understanding what the audience needs, whether that audience is the investor or whether it's the actual customer. Then it's into lots of trial and error of, all right, this is the kind of message, this is what we want to put across. In order to build trust with them, we need to show them this bits of information. We need to show we understand their desires by delivering this kind of messaging that is going to say, all right, we can, our product helps you achieve this. A key part is getting founders to stop describing features. I talk about this as like a simple analogy is Mario. If you got Mario and he's just regular Mario, and then he eats the flower, and then all of a sudden he can go around shooting things and he's invincible. Often what founders are doing is they're selling the flower, they're describing the flower and saying, well, the flower's this and the flower's that, the flower's the next thing. And actually what they want to be doing is describing the Super Mario, who is invincible and can run through amazing speeds and fire at things and, helps you complete the level faster. And that's what we help them do is they go from stopping talking about the flower, the actual feature, and actually talking about the outcomes, so that the customer understands how you help them, not just what you do.
Okay, so this was branding or rebranding?
Well, both are the same.
Yeah.
Branding is the same process of, we could do research, lay down a strategy, then the strategy being like how we win. So what is it we do that's different from what other people do that means that we can win in this niche? So start with the research, doing the strategy, then laying out the messaging of, well, how do we describe what we do to this niche so that these specific people understand us? Again, what I said about the punks. And then we get into the visual identity, which is actually the last part of it. Once we have the understanding, the strategy, the words, then we go into visual identity, because that's what we bring all together.
What are the typically kind of people you work, and what are the typical kind of customers that you get when you work with? And what are the jobs that they ask you to do it?
So it would be people like early stage startups. They are tending to looking for very simple branding. So they want logo, they want colors, they want font, something that they can, just the look and feel of what they're going for. And to be honest, in the early stages, I always advise them, don't go too deep into the branding process, because there's lots of assumptions they need to test as they go. And if we get too deep into the branding process, then their business might completely change based on something that they learned 6 months down the line. So with them, we do these very light touch brands, and then things like pitch decks, because that's giving them the tools to hit the outcomes that they want. As I said before, it's like a branding designer they're not emotionally attached to your startup and your idea, but they are attached to the outcomes that you want to achieve. So creating the brand, writing the messaging, and then creating a pitch deck that's going to help them sell their idea. That's what we'll get for early stages.
And what are the basic challenges that you feel every time?
So founders that don't actually value design beyond its aesthetics, or don't understand design beyond its aesthetics, tend to spend a lot of time trial and erroring things that are like day one design school stuff. So informational hierarchy. I look through decks every week, and the biggest thing that I see is they're just a tirade of information. There's no hierarchy. Your eye isn't being led around the page. And this comes from, this tends to come from people thinking that I have eyes and an opinion, therefore I can do design. Whereas it's actually creating a hierarchy of information that leads your eye from A to B to C, helps somebody understand your idea.
How important is branding for sales and most importantly for the fundraising perspective?
So you have a brand whether you design branding or not. There was recently a pitch put out, and it was like a half page of A4, and it ended up getting 500 million or something. It was only a few weeks ago this happened. So that is branding. They've decided this is how our brand's going to be. We don't need a deck. We are doing it this way. That is their brand. So if you aren't, even if you don't investing in it, then you have one, because it's what people say when you're not in the room. That is your brand. So I'd say there's no ROI on branding, but the people that do it well excel. They get the rewards.
If you were to give a piece of advice to a startup on branding, how to brand the music, how to brand the company, what would you say?
Hire a designer? No. So if they're wanting to do it themselves, start with the understanding. So start, because if you have that foundational understanding, the value you deliver, who you deliver it for, that very specific, not anybody who has the problem. I hate that, but it's like very specific. Then your understanding of yourself and how you operate will become easier, because your decision making becomes easier. If we've got a punk band, our audience is punks. Where do we play? Well, we go to punk venues, we go to punk festivals, we go to we play in places, we release on vinyl. Your decision making becomes easier once you really drill down and have that foundational understanding of your value, the audience that you're serving.
Okay, How do you deal with the people who say, come on, I know it all?
I mean, it depends. On one hand, you say, all right, well, if you know it, then go ahead. And actually, there's been lots of conversations I've had this year, at the start of this year, there's conversations I've had that have gone that way. And then I look at them now and they're in the exact same place they were 12 months ago. Because if you know it, you know it. But if you know it, then execute. And that's actually where branding becomes the most useful, is in the execution. Because you can have your beautiful brand, you can have your lovely messaging, but if you aren't executing and using it properly and actually going out and finding the right audience and getting your message in front of them, then you're not going to achieve what you want as a founder.
Okay, cool. I think so. Here is my understanding of the whole conversation. It is very important for you as a business to know that you are building a brand. Yes, there is a product, there's a service that needs to be created. But over the period of time, you need to understand the tone, the messaging, who you're making it for, what you are making for. And if you know it well, then good it for you. But if you have a doubt, or if you think you do not know, you need to hire a brand partner. And a brand partner who can guide you, who can ask you those questions, who can tell you what to do and how to do it, because he's going to take out all these things from you and your experiences and your brand, and eventually go out and execute what the brand partner is saying.
Yeah, exactly. And that is something to remember, that, like I said at the start, you can't put KPIs on branding. It's something you build over time and it does adapt. But without it, you're not going to go nearly as far as you would when you've done it well.
Perfect. So let me bring an end to this year with the last podcast with Orwell. And as you say, I know it all. If you say, and I say, I do not know anything. And that is why we had Orwell. Orwell, thank you so much for giving us your time, letting us know. And if anybody of you think they need a brand guy, then obviously Orwell is one of them. Thank you so much, and take care of yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And see you in 2026 with the new people, new startups. Have a good year.
Sounds great.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Ciao.